Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Saturday morning, so you know it's time for another live edition of the Extra Point. Pure Culture in the house. Michigan Michael Hasso, coming to you from an undisclosed location.
I'm in the
And
mountains.
we got, he's over there in the mountains. All right, Moses on the backside. And we have Tasha T. Sizzle checking in from the DR with some wonderful new frames. Tasha T. Sizzle, you're looking very studious this morning.
I got 3 pair of new frames. Hello.
Wait a minute. Okay, so we need to talk after the show because I need to know more about these free frames. I'm blind as a bat red over here. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you all had a fantastic Christmas and a happy new year on the way. We're going to get started. Mike, you sitting up top. Well, you know what? Ladies first on the last show of 2024. All right. We're going to start with the fill in the blank with you, Tasha T. Sizzle. All right. The first round of the college football playoff was blank.
I mean, it was uneventful.
Oh, Mike, she's starting off with a work word. She's ready today. All right, okay. Uneventful. Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna actually switch it up. I was gonna pull a Tasha. I was gonna say shitty, to be honest.
Mike is cussing 5 minutes into the phone.
So Mike can say shitty, but had I said shitty,
Well, see what happened was you use a work word, so I gotta be the Tasha. You know, like I know the roles. You know,
it's Freaky Friday role reversal for these two. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, it was very much lackluster. Like, I mean, for the most part, yeah, some of us wanted like that Cinderella team in there. That's why I kind of picked Indiana. But like for the most part, like SMU, like even Clemson, like it wasn't even close at the halftime. People were switching channels. You know, it's like, man, these are pretty bad. I think that's why most people were like, man, we knew that. Like, let's just do a top 8 or a top 6 or whatever that was. Yeah, it was just like, man, it was like a bad bowl game, I guess. Yeah, it reminded me of like the bad BCS era.
It was uneventful. That's what it was just kind of like.
Very, very uneventful, and to quote Mike, very shitty. By the way, it really was. Now, the reverberations from that game seemed like it was actually bigger than the games themselves because there was a lot of banter on social media after the conclusion of the Ohio State-Tennessee game. Kirk Herbstreit was one of the biggest detractors of what we saw in the first round of the playoffs, basically saying that the committee chose most deserving over the best 12 teams. Mike, I'm going to start with you on this one. Do you agree with Kirk Herbstreit? And if you do, how do you differentiate between most deserving and best? Because I'm a little confused on that.
Yeah, I think this is what we thought was going to happen. Because even like with the Final Four, there was always that 5th, 6th team that was like, well, Florida State, went undefeated. And,
right.
You're always going to have that. I don't think you can have a right way. Unless, I mean, you can do the conferences, but it's like, okay, well, there's obvious top 2 conferences in here. So like, you're always going to have like, well, this conference should have 4 teams in there or 5 teams in there. And then these conferences only need 1, right? So it's like, but at some point, and we're seeing this level out of like college football starting to, get closer to where, every conference is kind of equal. We're not there yet. I think eventually it could get there, yeah, especially with the NIL. You see that in SMU, like starting with, their 5-star, and that changes the whole program. So I think you could see it. I don't think you can make these big changes going off of one season. I think you got to let it roll. But I do think it's funny that people are trying to compare conferences. That's not what it is. It's giving these other conferences a chance that are like, hey, we should be up there. And it's like, okay, cool. Come to the dinner table. And you're like, bam. And like, okay, we're not there yet.
Right. Tasha, you shared with me the Kirk Herbstreit comments, which kind of got my wheels spinning to even talk about this morning. Do you agree with Kirk? Would you rather see the best 12 over the most deserving? And what's the difference to you?
But see, that's when the water becomes murky.
Right.
Because we say we want parity when it comes to college football because people say they're tired of seeing the same teams. But then when you get these quote unquote deserving teams in there, like the Indianas, like the SMUs, like the Clemsons, because they did win their conference, then you saw what they put out there. It was boo-boo. Like it was awful. So it's almost like, do you think a quote unquote better team would have been a better challenge, would have made the games a little more interesting? Like even with Tennessee, I really didn't expect Tennessee to stink it up like that.
Right.
Of course, I'm going to pick Tennessee, even though I really didn't think they were going to win it. I've just picked them because I will never pick that other school. But we didn't expect Tennessee to go out there and look as bad as they did. So does Tennessee deserve to be there? They were basically on the cusp of being, below Bama. Only reason why they weren't is because they beat Bama.
Right.
Like, what determines what team is better? Are you saying what's going to give you better viewership, or what team deserve based off of record is there? Because that's when it becomes a little sticky. Because of course, we all probably think if Alabama and Indiana played, Alabama's going to win that game.
I think so. I think so. Mike, I'm going to come to you with this because she brought up a good point. And good morning, Melanie Taylor. Good morning, Farrah in the house.
Email. Hey, Farrah.
Guns out today. I couldn't get Mike in time to hit him up to let him know to have those missions going. But you see, Tasha, you see the Fitbit, you see the tube top. All right, we're right. Hey, Mike done got swole on y'all. Wait till he come back and show you the Mavs jersey. I digress. Mike, back to you. Tasha made a great point about Tennessee, because I was one of the people who was ready to dance on the grave of Indiana when they lost, and SMU because I was screaming Indiana didn't deserve to be there. Tennessee cut my legs out when they got their ass smoked. Like that game wasn't even as close as the score. The score was horrible. So does UT wetting the bed against Ohio State, does that chop the legs off the argument of the Indiana shouldn't be there, SMU shouldn't be there? Because the SEC looked just as bad.
Yeah, throw Clemson in there. Like I was saying, like it was 21-10 or something like that at halftime. And it wasn't even close if you were actually watching the game. Like they were just toying with them at that point. So yeah, I think both of those added in there kind of is like, okay, well, maybe it was just top 8 teams or whatever this year, because those other teams were. We can also argue like matchups, right? Like people are saying Alabama, blah 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 blah, and it's like then we see that Oklahoma game, and it's like, bruh. Like, okay.
Right.
I don't want to hear nothing about no Alabama after watching that Oklahoma team play football.
I still think Alabama would have beat SMU.
I do too.
They would have beat all three.
Yeah. But like that's all about matchups, right? You're like now you're picking like, okay, well, this team against Alabama, or like, do I think Alabama could beat Texas? No, I don't think
so. I don't know. Alabama's just one of those teams. She says, "Hey, yes, sir, Justin." We going ping.
You know what? I don't be surprised if Michigan shocks the world again and Alabama wets the bed and Michigan comes out. You know what I'm saying? So.
Mike, don't start there. Tasha done already told you how she feel about that bowl game. But Mike, I'm here with you. I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching every play. Good morning, Denise. Denise, so lovely to have you back on the show at the onset. We always love to get your takes. Good morning, Justin, in the house. I got some Chiefs love for you a little bit later in the show. Make sure you stick around for that. All right. So, Mike, you're saying don't change anything. Tasha, you're saying don't change anything. Let's just see how this plays out going forward.
But again, I said Indiana actually played better ball than we expected, given off of what they have always done.
Right.
But is Indiana a good football team compared to what else is there? I don't think so. They're a good football team compared to what they have usually done. The same with SMU. SMU is going to have to open up their bag a little more, get a few more big names in, because I don't think SMU is that competitive. They benefited from being in the lackluster ACC, because look at your champions record. So they benefited from being that. But if you just think if Miami had didn't wet the bed, as you like to say, against Syracuse, just think if Florida State didn't go basically 0 for freaking 11 the whole season, other than what Charleston, South Charleston, and whatever else team they won against. Just think if Clemson had been up to full steam where they had been the past, maybe 5 years ago,
Right.
SMU would not even be in the conversation as far as ACC.
Right. It was a thing to where they looked overmatched. That quarterback, bless his heart, and shouts out to Oak Cliff. He had a phenomenal season, but he was outmatched against that Penn State defense. It was
right. And I mean, we're talking about Penn State, who we all just be like, Penn State don't ever show up. But I think if SMU performs like this next season, then you're gonna have to start maybe moving them up. But
right.
They're
on the way. They're on the way.
When are we can't keep blaming teams for winning in conferences that are terrible. Like you can't blame SMU for having that because the rest of their conference was terrible.
Right.
Just like back in the Pac-12 days, we had your Oregons, your SCs, or whoever else that always won, but the rest of the conference was shitty. So
right. And to your point, Michigan's schedule was much tougher than Indiana's, but it's not Indiana's fault that Michigan wasn't a top 10 team. They started top 10. That was supposed to be a top 10 game. So I get both sides, and I think the Tennessee blowout really kind of brought me back down to earth as far as banging on Indiana and banging on SMU so tough, because an ass whooping is waiting for anybody who want to get it. Mm-hmm. And Tennessee looked the worst out of all of them because of the expectations and the talent that they have. All right, so let's move on to the quarterfinal round. And Mike, you're a betting man. Tasha, you've watched bowl games for 30 plus years as well as myself. I saw something that I don't think I've ever seen before. We're in the quarterfinals, and all 4 teams that have a bye, 3 of the 4 of them are underdogs in the next round. That was very shocking to me, and not just small underdogs, big time underdogs. We'll start in the great state of Texas. He says that Boise State versus Penn State game is not even going to be close. We'll get Mike and Tasha's thoughts on that game next. Let's start with Texas. They're a 13-point favorite against Arizona State in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Mike, who you like in this one?
That's easy, man. That's Texas. Yeah. I mean, I got them winning the whole thing, so I got Texas on this one.
Tasha, you agree? Do you agree with the 13-point spread? You think that Arizona won't even pinch to be?
I don't even think they're going to pinch to be. But, again, Arizona State came out of nowhere. They got some good coaches and some good players. They've always been kind of like on the cusp of things, but, you had a lot of players leave. You had Jaden Daniels, who left and went to LSU. You had, what's his name? Plays for my 49ers, the one that got shot. He transferred, went to Florida. Pearsall. Went to Florida. Like, they would get some talent, but I think now that they have some decent coaches, they may have something going. I'm not gonna say they're gonna get taken to the woodshed, but I think Texas is definitely gonna win.
One thing that really kind of moved Texas up my power rankings was the physicality in which they played with against Clemson. They were pretty much a finesse team all year. They ran the ball down Clemson's throat. And if they're going to be physical at the line of scrimmage, Arizona State. Now, Arizona State does have some dogs, and they were missing one of their big play receivers that's going to be playing in the bowl game. So we shall see. I think I like Texas to cover as well. I think they're 2 touchdowns. Now, here's an interesting one. Penn State. You know what we think about James Franklin and the way they performed in big games. We're going
to separate what we think of James Franklin and what we think, because y'all know ABOB.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's put the money where the mouth is. You got Ashton Genty versus Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl. Now, Tasha, Mike, you remember back in 2007. Boise State was in the Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma. They doing Statue of Liberties. They doing flea flickers. They pulled the big upset. Do they do the same 17 years later, Tasha T. Sizzle?
With Ashton Genty running, I'm going to say yes, because Penn State's defense, when it's supposed to show up, what we always say is something about that number 11.
Yes.
And that number 11 at Penn State, when he was supposed to show up in certain games, he didn't show up. So you got that whole defense that's basically going to have to stop someone who, had it been any other year, would have been the Heisman winner.
Oh, without a doubt, and it wouldn't have even been close. Mike, are you riding the James Franklin train for one more week?
I haven't really been riding his train anyways.
Ride the train.
I've always been a fan of Genty, and it was really hard. Not choosing him for the Heisman, but I agree that any other season he would have won easily. I think this game he proves and he moves up that ladder on that NFL draft. I think he's going to show out and have an excellent game. I think, as we say, Boise State only has one game plan. Penn State defense only has one game plan too. They hope that they can beat your offensive line. And I'm not saying that they won't. I just think Genty is a better player than what Penn State has played against from a running back standpoint.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, yeah, he's the most talented individual player that they've seen all year, including anybody that they played in the Big Ten, including Oregon's teams. And they have James, that's an awesome running back. But I agree with that. I think that the Genty show comes to a whimpering finish. If they're going to win, they're going to have to throw the ball. I do not think that Penn State is going to allow Genty to just run roughshod. There's one thing when you have Mountain West teams like San Jose State and Wyoming and them stacking the box against Genty. There's a whole other thing when you got Penn State. That is linebacker you and defensive end you. So we shall see. I like Penn State in this game. They're an 11-point favorite. I don't like the spread. I don't because Boise's a little different beast than SMU. They're a little more battle tested, and I think they've been a top team all years. We shall see. I'll take Penn State.
When I say number 11, what's the kid's name? Is Abdul Carter? Is that his name, right?
Yes. Well, Titans got our eyes on him. We need that up front.
I hope he goes out and performs because I want good for that kid, but I just don't see the defense as a whole performing. And I'm always ABOB, and I really wish James Franklin can get over the hump. I won't be surprised if they actually pull it out, but I just see BYU with the upset.
And we also, I forget sometimes too, is they barely lost to Oregon. This is number one team. They lost by 3 points. So they can get stuff done. And I think
they want to.
Right. And it's on a neutral site. So I think they'll travel well. And of course we know Big Ten teams travel well already. So I think it'll be a good game. I'm like you. I would take Boise State with the points. Because that's a lot of points, and I think that this is a closer game.
The points is what's kind of making it a little,
Right. I don't trust. SMU was one thing, but the kid was throwing pick sixes in the first half, so that totally changed the trajectory of the spread of that game. I think that if he played a clean game, that game would have been a lot closer. James Franklin, the style of offense that they run at Penn State is not conducive for Genty to be taken out of the game. They're not a go up 28-0 in the first half, throwing the ball all over the lot like Ohio State did to Tennessee. They're going to plug away. That keeps Genty in the game if you're not up 2-3 scores. So I like Penn State only because I didn't see the Oregon game. So we'll see, but I don't feel that great about it. Now, Sugar Bowl, a very interesting matchup. We got 7th seed Notre Dame, who looked phenomenal last Friday, versus 2nd seed Georgia without starting quarterback Carson Beck. I don't know if that's good or bad, Tasha. I think that might actually help Georgia. Notre Dame is a 2-point underdog in this one. Tasha, who you like in this matchup?
Georgia. I said it's going to be a Georgia-Texas duel anyway. Like I said, shades of LSU and Bama, back to back. Again, why y'all got everybody I'm rooting against is my ABOB, and y'all know I don't.
I was just about to say what happened. What happened to ABOB?
Sometimes these ABOBs don't be bills out here. They don't be doing. They don't be doing what they supposed to be doing when it comes to coaching and getting the team over the hump. So that's what scares me because you do. And I think Georgia looks better without what's the quarterback's name?
Carson Beck.
They look a hell of a lot better without Carson Beck. So that scares me too. But is this moment, so is this moment going to be too big or whatever? No, the kid has been playing top-notch talent the whole season. He's in the biggest game of his life, coming in at halftime. Jalen Hurts, Tua, but
yeah.
I just think Georgia right now is picking up the head of steam that they need. And I think the team, that's their boy. It'd be like if you was some slaw. Like, I'm going to tell Mike, Mike, that's our boy, though. We got to put some cabbage and some mayo in there with him and get him in that bowl and stir him up. You probably had some guys on that team that was like, damn, he's slaw. It was some people behind the scenes talking.
Right.
And then when you get a new kid in there, and they looking fresh. The offense was moving and did not stop at that point.
Right.
So that's what scares me, but I'm still gonna go with Georgia.
Mike, so we can totally disregard the whole ABLB speech from the previous game. Mike, you're up.
Yeah, I agree. I think this might even be another remake of that Georgia Alabama earlier season, to where Georgia kind of started off really slow, and then it was a game. I mean, they ended up losing that game, but I think Georgia pulls this one out. I do think they're a better team with their backup quarterback, and just watching it, you're like, wait, why wasn't he in the whole season? It might be the similar thing of like what
they're trying to push Carson Beck out there as being the best quarterback in college. That's what they kept trying to push out there. They didn't want to tug his jacket and tell him to have a seat for whatever reason. Even Nick said the predecessor, the god of college football, pulled his quarterback at one point to see what else he had against South Florida, and it didn't work. And what did he do? He put Milroe right back in. Sometimes you gotta murky up things a little bit to see what you got. You gotta put this, swish it around like that and see what falls to the bottom, what rises to the top.
Yeah,
I love it. I'm an ABOK. I always bet on Kirby. But there's something about this Notre Dame team that I think that in this spot they could clip Georgia. But man, Georgia in big spots like this, it's hard to go against Kirby.
I mean, Notre Dame's the same as Penn State. Like they Notre Dame. They just dropped the bag.
Team with one wears blue and white, another wears blue and gold.
Right.
And occasionally green.
I'm going to go with Notre Dame because of their skill positions. Georgia don't have the dogs on the outside like they used to. I have no confidence in this pick, y'all. I'm going to take Notre Dame. That's why I'm third in picks, ladies and gentlemen, because they're giving me the facts, and I'm still going with the leprechaun, and hopefully it's lucky. I think I'm going to regret. Right. Hey, Mr. Put up the dukes. I think I'm going to regret that. I agree wholeheartedly with Mike and Tasha's points. I'm going to take Notre Dame because I'm behind on picks and I'm running out of games. All right, now here's the big one: Ohio State and Oregon. Tasha, if you're Oregon,
you ain't even got to say that. If it rains all week, just pretend you're a duck. Quack quack, water water, quack quack, water water. I will be a Ducks fan. Enough said.
Now, Joel says the Fighting Irish are more physical than Georgia. Fighting Irish for the win. Okay, I feel a little better that I'm not on this Titanic by myself.
I mean, they are, but you just can't count Georgia out in these type of games because their defense.
Right, Kirby either. Yeah. Kirby
been there, done that, won that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah, Kirby.
And I don't know if Freeman can just get it done this year against Georgia. I don't know.
Now, Mike, if you're Dan Lanning, who I despise, respectfully, I despise that man. I don't know who I want to lose more. I wish there was a way for them to both be disqualified, like with Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant with the double DQ in WrestleMania 4, and they both got knocked out the time. Can that happen in the Rose Bowl? I hate both of these damn teams. I'm gonna save my pick because I want to hear your thoughts. Oregon, did they get shafted getting Ohio State in the second round?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They had how are you gonna be the number one seed by far and get the hardest no, it shouldn't work that way. It should be re-ranked.
But were they the true number one team? It's only based off of record.
Going back to most deserving.
That's all we can do. We can't hand pick like that.
And Mike, to your point, if you say go back and reseed, if you reseed, and Oregon's not going to be number one.
Who would be?
No, I'm saying at the first round bye, the number one should face the worst team that advances.
Yeah.
Like in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with Tasha. I'm definitely an Oregon. I'll be rooting for Oregon. It's hard to beat a team. And, I talked about this with the Texas-Georgia potential matchup for the championship. That's hard to beat a team 3 times. I think the last time I saw that happen was, I think the Cowboys and the Giants played like that, and then the Giants ended up clipping the Cowboys or something like that. I think it's a hard team alone to beat them again. And so I think Ohio's going to win this one.
I think they are too. Ohio State has the most talent of any team left in the field. If it's not for some clock management issues at the end of that game in Eugene, they get the walk-off field goal and beat them early in the season. I think
Ryan Day is duty, man. Him and Lincoln Riley, man, I swear they be having cups of tea in the morning or something. I don't know.
Hey, I drink tea.
Ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nothing
bad about tea.
Now, Jarrell says Buckeyes have revenge on them. I do agree, but I'm with Tasha. I cannot pick the Buckeyes, but I do think that they're going to beat Oregon.
Real vengeance is mine, saith the Lord.
Yes, yes, it is. And y'all, that what we did to them in the regular season finale, y'all, Ohio State looked like y'all got me effed up because they heard all the smoke from that Michigan. Hey, did y'all watch that game and wonder how in the hell we beat them? Like, to see the performance they did last Saturday night, I was like, how did we beat them?
We knew why.
I didn't because that wasn't the same team that we played.
Okay.
It wasn't the same team. It was a different coaching mindset.
Mike, what did you say? Mike, what did you say after that game? You can't beat us playing our game. How many times did they run the ball as opposed to how many times they throw the ball? It wasn't the same team.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's up to the coach, though. That's up to the coach. That's Ryan Day.
They cooking, y'all. They cooking. It's tasting good. It's tasting good.
I think that's why everyone was surprised because Ohio State tried to play Michigan ball, and it's like, wait, that's not your team. You didn't spend $20 million to run the ball. Like, that's not. We all know Michigan. Past history, besides the championship team, our weakness has been our secondary for the most part. Like, if you can beat Michigan, it's going to have to be passing the ball because you can't run on us.
And that's what I don't understand. Our top secondary guy, Will Johnson, was out.
Right. They got Jeremiah Smith open early and often against Tennessee. They couldn't, whenever they went man, Chip Kelly went crossing routes. Whenever they went zone, they ran Travion and the kid from Mississippi right up the gut. There was no answer. Yeah. And I was like, wow, okay. So, all right, I digress. I'm going to take Oregon in this, but y'all, Ohio State's about to beat their ass. I just don't see it. They look like a team on a mission. That looked like the team that was
Ohio State's. Oh my God, I can't believe I said it. No wonder my throat got the burning. I can't believe I said that.
Your throat burning because Wayne in the comments. Good morning, Wayne. He said, "Let's go Irish."
What is their offense rank? Because I do believe Oregon's defense may be top 5. That's where they're secondary. Maybe ranked in the top 5. And if they're going to pass it, you're going to need that secondary to show up.
Right. But let's keep in mind, they lost by 1 point on the road in Eugene. And there was a controversial OPI called on Jeremiah Smith that was the game winner in the first
controversy. I ain't seen no controversy.
Oh, that was I love Tasha's hate for Ohio State. I love it. But they gonna whoop Oregon's ass. No, I'm not gonna pick them. I'm picking Oregon because I can't pick the Scarlet and Gray. But damn, what they did to Tennessee, they told Tennessee to get up off the floor. How did the landlord tell dude?
He said, "Don't be pulling that falling down the stairs shit either."
Right, that's what
rich dude, motherfucker.
That's Ohio State. That's what they told Tennessee. Get up. They said, get up, Sam's. You smoke crack, don't you? Like, go on and jump. Tennessee, y'all embarrassed us, okay? There are 40,000 people there, and all right. Good morning, Langston, in the house. So, yeah, that should be interesting. But I agree with Mike wholeheartedly. The fact that Ohio State should not be going up against Oregon in this game. They should get Arizona State. They should get beat Boise. They should be playing one of those teams. Like,
but when you off of the record, Arizona State deserves to be where they are. We said we're going off of the record.
Okay, he said, well, don't let Ohio State beat the UT fool you. Oregon is complete and comes to play every week. Okay, with the bars, 16. Okay, all right, with the bars. Now, Jarrell says, damn right. Damn shame what they did to that dog. Oh, Rocky Top.
They had to go down there howling with his little dust on, and he was like, "Man, it's cold. Get me on back on the bus."
Right. Good morning, Mr. Sawyers. Now, Mike, I know good and damn well that you had a nice little sports woody when you heard SEC chants in an emptying stadium when all that orange was going up the stands to get up out of the horseshoe, and the Buckeye fans started chanting SEC. I said, "Oh, Mike is somewhere with a cocktail enjoying this." We turned it off and started watching First 48. We always was seeing a murder in real life. We figured we'd watch some on A&E. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the last show of 2024. These two have cooked you all delicious meals all year. They got you ready for all of your sports weekends and extravaganzas. These two right here have done it all year. So it's only apropos that these two give us their top athletes, coaches, teams of 2024 as we round into a new year. Tasha, Mike, who wants to go first? If you don't raise hands, I will choose.
I just put my real glasses on. Y'all, I got new frames, but I ain't got my prescription put in them yet.
All right, so Mike raises his hand.
I just put my real glasses on so I can pull up my list.
But look, both are I like the glasses, Tasha. I like them. Those are pretty, right, Mike. I need that deal she got on those glasses because I'm struggling over here. Langston said Tennessee offense hasn't looked the same the past 2 years. The run was 53 this year, the passing game. Yeah, and they weren't playing at the same pace either, Langston. Langston coming with the stats this morning. All right, Michigan Mike Jr. All right, Mike, you up first. Male Athlete of the Year 2024. Who you got?
This was tough for me. And then I kept looking at everything, and I was like, no. I must be missing someone else. Because the first thing that came to mind was, man, I hated the. I'm gonna keep it real. I hate the Dodgers now, just because last year or a couple of years ago, I went to a Ranger Dodger game, and there were so many LA fans there. It was ridiculous. I was like, man, I hate these fans. These kind of like Yankees fans, but from the West Coast. But I'm gonna go with Ohtani, just because he was what everyone thought he was. Like, even not pitching and not using that, he really stepped up his batting game. He ended up winning his first World Series. So I'm going to go with Ohtani. And, yes, I do think he actually was the one betting on the side. And
that's what I was getting ready to say. That was
so
you.
with all that together and him still stepping up and earning that money, that paycheck, I'm going to go with him this year.
Yeah, okay, great answer. He was National League MVP, won a World Series, proved to be still the baddest man on the planet when it comes to that diamond. Tasha, you're up.
I am going really, really off the grid, and it's because y'all know I love all sports. I'll watch any sports all the way down to curling and badminton. Armand Duplantis. Do you guys know who that is?
Is that the governor of Florida?
How do I log out this? The man jumped over a parallel stick with a vertical stick 20 feet in the air. He set the world record for the pole vault in the Olympics. Armand Duplantis. That is my athlete of the year because, like, that has never been done. I have to go with something that ain't never been done before. I can barely jump over a puddle of water.
Right. If I jump over a raisin, somebody gonna have to call the medic clinic and get me I got me a massage gun for Christmas, so I can't wait to use that today. Good morning, AP Culture. Now I had my honorable mention was King James, but y'all know the reason why. The man was MVP of the Olympics. He was MVP of planet Earth. And
that Olympic feat gets mentioned, but then I tell y'all somebody broke the world record by leaping 20 feet 6 inches in the air, and it's crickets.
Well, I didn't know who he was, but no, that's a great answer. I appreciate the answer, but my winner, he was just honorable mention. But my winner is Travis Hunter. I think across all sports, I think his stat line across all sports probably was the most impressive offense, defense, and winning the Heisman. So I'm going to go with Travis Hunter. But Shohei was definitely in my honorable mention along with LeBron James. All right, female athlete of the year. Tasha, you up first.
Asia Wilson.
Okay. WNBA MVP in the house. Mike, who's your female athlete of the year?
I'm gonna go with Caitlin Clark. Kind of on the same path. I just really like all the, I wouldn't say negativity because I'm not even going to pitch it that way. I like all the fierceness that the professionals were bringing to her and bringing at her. And I liked how it was just making her stronger. And you saw her game get better and better at each game. So I really liked her transition from college to pro.
I'm going with Caitlin Clark as well. And for all of the reasons that you mentioned, Mike, I mean, if you look at 2024 from a calendar year, the run through the NCAA tournament, the ratings bonanza that it was for the women's game, avenging the loss to LSU, coming close to knocking off Don Staley and South Carolina, being the number one overall pick. And the thing that pushed her over the top for me was that she came into the WNBA as an Iowa chucker, just chucking up threes, and the team was struggling. But the game started to slow down for her. She started seeing some film, learning how defense was playing her. She became more of a facilitator. When the assist went up, so did the wins. Aaliyah Boston became looking like a number one pick that she was the year before. They go from the worst team in the WNBA to making the playoffs. And, of course, the ratings magic that it was. So I'm going to go with Caitlin Clark as well. Coach of the year, Michigan Mike.
Man, you already know. You know, technically, I'm still going with whatever they finished with. So I'm going to go with Harbaugh as my coach of the year because he turned around that program, the program, back from what it was. You know, we finally had a coach. We finally had some recruits coming through, and he finished it out. I would call it the last pure team right before the NIL kind of blew everything up. Those who stay will be champions. And his transition even into the NFL has proved. I mean, he's not going to have playoff success right away, but he has turned around that team back from what it was. So I got Harbaugh.
Hey, you got to be in it to win it. Hey, if you got to go up against the Chargers, you're going to have a fight on your hands in that wild card round. So you never know. I mean, Harbaugh is a proven winner. Tasha, who's your coach of the year 2024?
Coach Mike, keep a job, Tomlin. Coach #ABOB.
Do you got on your black Air Forces right now, Tasha?
No, I got on my Birkenstocks.
Okay. Tasha, how on God's green earth is the black Jeff Fisher your coach of the year?
First of all, it ain't finna be no Mike Tomlin slang on this show. So let's just get this straight. You would never compare the great Mike Tomlin to the likes of old 50-50. That ain't finna happen.
That's Tomlin, not fair. You're right. I apologize. That's not fair because he does
fair.
Have a championship. He has a championship. You're right.
Mike Tomlin, what he's done this year, barely. You know, they keep holding. Oh, he's never had a losing season. Okay, barely. Last year
That's a low bar. That's a low bar, but keep going.
Barely. But what he did this year, even though I kind of second guessed him, the way he brought Russell Wilson along towards the end, it helped the offense, even though that offense is going back to the same thing that it has been, which is null and void, because they're not putting no points up when they need to be putting points up. But I don't put that on Coach Tomlin. I put that on Russell because I think I tweeted out or put on Facebook or something. Every time Russell drops back to pass, I clench my teeth because you never know where it's going. So, yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go with Coach Prime for 2024 Coach of the Year. From where they ended the 2023, going from 4-8 to 9-3, with the scrutiny and the pressure, kind of on the same lines of giving him the same criteria as Caitlin Clark. In the face of opposition and so much scrutiny, can't even poop without it being a trending topic on social media. To get a team that went 4-8 to 9-3, getting a Heisman Trophy winner for a non-CFP team, just the way that he's won and how he's starting to evolve from going from, remember the Dan Lanning, they're playing for clicks, we're playing for wins. They kind of moved away from the viral stuff and just went to old school traditional football. To Mike's point, how he hammers home, getting big in the trenches, getting some offensive linemen, some defensive linemen, not being so flashy with the 5 stars on the outside, and starting to try to run the ball and protect Shedeur Sanders. I think they did a great job of doing that. Look forward to seeing them in the bowl game. Dion, don't make me snatch this title from you, because if Travis Hunter or Shedeur gets hurt in that damn bowl game, you're gonna have hell to pay. I'm gonna snatch that from you and give it to old Coach 50.
Like we said in our group chat,
don't get
Jay
them hurt.
Buzz had the best. If you
Right.
guys go back and see that
That was
interview,
excellent post. Yeah.
Michigan tight end Jake Buzz, who
Yes.
tore his ACL or his MCL or something in a bowl game. The same
Right.
one that we joked about, Julius Pepper. Remember, Julius Peppers
Right.
pulled out talking about he was hurt.
did.
We was like, quit lying, bro. You just don't want to play.
Right.
I don't blame him. I
Right.
just think it's, we want to see these top notch, the stars of the team
Right.
play. But when it comes to the next level and my opportunity to make it to the next level, that $100 million life insurance policy from Lords of London ain't gonna cover what I could possibly make on and off the field. Now, Colorado is not disclosing the amount of that of that insurance policy, but it's got to be high. It has to be.
And I love the fact that Jake Butt went on to say, yes, I had the insurance, but this is what it cost me from an NFL standpoint. And what's the price that you put on somebody's dream? Like, if your dream is to play in the NFL and it gets derailed like that, what's the price tag on that?
So dream deferred,
Right. So Jake Butt, if y'all haven't seen that, that was an excellent video that he posted. Very articulate.
Luckily he landed, he got a nice little job, commentating, but
he's gonna have a great career at that. Yeah.
He'd rather be out there catching balls. So I think he made it 4 years, not really even long enough to get the pension.
Right. He didn't. To your point, he sure didn't. All right. Mike, your 2024 team of the year. I think we don't need a drum roll for this one.
And I know what his answer is, because I already know what it is.
Yeah. So both of y'all going with A and A, right? Both of y'all going right here with it.
Yeah. Okay. We can start.
You don't even have to explain. We said what we said. We said Michigan.
But it needs to be said because people automatically think about, because of national title. Yeah, that's where you start, right? You start with this team that's the last perfect, quote, perfect pre-NIL team. Those who stay will be champions. Okay, cool. Then you got the spring and the summer coming through. You lose your coach. You lose your other coach. You lose this coach. You lose your training coordinator, who's the top in the country. You lose that to the NFL. You lose 30 players to the NFL. Then you got this whole team coming through. You surprise the world and beat Ohio State at the end. You get the top 5 recruits. That's still 2024, by the way. You get the number 1 quarterback. You get the number 1 offensive lineman. You get transfer running back from Alabama. Man, we about to do this again, man. Come on now.
We really are about to do this again. But like you said, I thought SMU was your team, Mike.
Yeah, that's my local team. I want SMU to do good just because that's a Dallas community. Like, I want SMU to be good. If SMU was playing against Michigan, that's hands down. Come on, man.
But not the Cowboys. You want SMU to do good, the Mavs to do good.
I don't like Arlington, first of all. I don't like Arlington.
Girls, when his team is in the same conference, that don't even make sense.
It's the local aspect of it. If Michigan is his way,
Eagle fly. That's like me saying, "Oh, come on Raiders, come on Cardinals, come on Seahawks." If I lived in Seattle and I'm a 49er fan.
Mike just made the point that Michigan is his team, but he's rooting for SMU because they local. Where is that for the Cowboys, Mike? We want to know. In the last show of 2024, the year of our Lord, we want to know.
You ain't getting
flush
me,
down
man.
the toilet like their last few seasons. I answered it for him.
Well, and that little blue thing that gets the streaks out, that was in Cowboy blue, by the way. It was a blue affair because they were the toilet bowl team. Back to Shedeur. Do y'all agree with this? Shedeur's situation is different. He can take that risk and play in Alamo Bowl.
You don't ever take that risk because many a top player has been pushed down the line because of an injury. It doesn't matter who they are.
Yeah, he's already top pick. Like he has nothing else to prove.
Yeah, and Deion, don't let the ego.
Right, and we haven't seen him line up against anybody's NFL defense. Insert Caleb Williams.
Now, y'all, they done shamed me, y'all, to close out this segment. They done shamed me into saying Michigan, but my real pick are the Kansas City Chiefs. They started 2024 Super Bowl champions over those 49ers. They ended 2024 with the best record in the NFL, number 1 overall seed, only lost one game all calendar year. They're going to win it again, y'all. Like, did you see what they did the last 3 weeks? Patrick back there patting that ball. D-Hop out there catching. They got Pacheco back, and Chris Jones is the best defensive player in the NFL.
Thank you, Mike.
Steve Spagnuolo got that. I know y'all, but I'm saying, man, old Kermit, he closing in on Goat Brady. Old Kermit about to get his fourth ring, y'all. It's the Chiefs.
No,
Go blue though. Go blue, but I have the Chiefs. Mike, you got any locks for us off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head. We can go off the picks though. You got the NFL game.
Did you want my top five?
Okay. Huh? Okay, come on. No, I didn't hear what you said.
I said, did you want my top five? Are we not?
Oh yeah, we're gonna do. No, yeah, we're gonna do the top five. Oh, most definitely. That's why I wanted to make sure Mike had some locks first. So he said, "Oh, I'm talking about money. Should there money situation?" Okay. Well, yeah. Well, I mean.
No, I mean even still, his money's only going to take him as far as he's marketable.
Speaking of marketable, the 49ers, the 69ers.
Langston, I know you, Langston.
Cowboys looking good out there in these streets right now. Cowboys old.
And I just knew that they would flex this game Monday. I was like, how the hell the 49ers still get a Monday Night Football?
Because the world wants to see Detroit run up. Yeah, the world wants to see Detroit run up the score on y'all in that rematch. We got the 7 wins, baby.
Like they did Dallas?
No. That was a 6-point win, but yes, to your point, like they did Dallas. I think that's the last game y'all won too. You see now, Langston is true to his word. Now that Dak is off the team, now he's back Dallas 7-8. Now he's back a Cowboys fan. It really was Dak. The name of his fantasy team was Dak.
Michael Parsons said it. CD may really be the true star because, like he said, he got over 1,000 yards with no matter what quarterback they had in there.
And you know he's out there. Go ahead, Mike.
Isn't he out this game?
Yeah, they're shutting him down for the season.
Yeah. AC joint.
Yeah, don't get him hurt out there because we got Super Bowl aspirations next year when Dak come back. All right, our pick 5. Stop it. Our pick 5. So just to reiterate, we all have Texas over Arizona State. Tasha, you have Boise over Mike. You have Boise State over Penn State.
Yeah.
Tasha, you have Boise State as well, right? I'm going Penn State. Notre Dame and Georgia. You know what? I'm gonna go with that. I picked the Irish. I said the Georgia was gonna win, but I'm picking the Irish. Mike got Georgia. Tasha has Georgia. And Ohio State versus Oregon. Mike, I don't think we really got your pick. You know, we going with the Ducks.
I said Ohio was gonna win.
He said the L5s.
Okay. Mike, I don't like the fact you be caking for them like that. That don't sit right in my spirit. It just don't. I don't like the fact you showing them all this love, man. They suck. They didn't score but 10 points against us, and we have the raggediest team we've had since the Rich Rod era. We picked them some suckers. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we can't finish 2024 without a T-Sizzle's top 5. So, in honor of the new year rapidly approaching and our last show of 2024, Tasha T-Sizzle's top 5 sports stories of 2024. Tasha, the floor is yours.
Cool. Honorable mention because this recently just happened. Juan Soto, you need a driver, a maid, a babysitter, a plumber. Holla at your girl.
Right. Just Juan did his thing on that one. Shouts out to Juan Soto.
And next is
for non-baseball watchers, explain what Juan Soto just did.
Juan Soto just basically got like $700 million in a contract, and that's guaranteed money. So I be telling y'all kids keep talking about baseball is boring.
Bore me, baby. Bore me, baby. Run that check up. All right.
My next is Travis Hunter winning the Heisman, which was a big story because it was closer than what everyone thought. And Mike and I both were like, Ashton Genty. I mean, I knew Travis would win, but any other year, like I said, Ashton Genty would have won it hands down. But it's funny how they're like, oh, they're good and giving him like a two-way designation. But it's like when Charles Woodson won it, we were like, oh, he's defense. But then they tried to make him two-way. So y'all need to make up y'all mind.
Good point.
When it comes to that. Okay. And the next one I have Caitlin Clark as the top story, of course. Like I picked Asia Wilson as my MVP because she is the better overall player, the better overall WNBA star. But Caitlin, by her coming in, whether you hate her or not, which I don't understand how anybody can hate her.
Right.
Hate her or not, the way she came in and had more people gravitating, because anybody sits up, everybody now, oh, I've been watching the WNBA. No, you haven't. If you
No,
have,
you
why was
haven't.
the viewership number so low? You know,
Right.
your ass hadn't been watching. So I
Right.
got
Right.
your girl Caitlin Clark in there.
Right.
And then, of course, what Mike and I said, top team, I have Michigan winning our first national championship in 80,000 years.
Right. Right.
And number one, again, y'all know I love all sports. So, my number one story goes out to the GOAT herself, Simone Biles Owens. She is the most, I think she's tied for overall medals, but she's the most decorated Olympic medalist.
She was my runner-up behind Caitlin Clark for Female Athlete of the Year. Great list by you, Mike. Do you have one in there that maybe Tasha didn't list that comes to mind?
Oh, I missed one because I gave my honorable mention. I'm sorry. Freddie Freeman, what he did to win that World Series.
I love the way that you included all sports in your list. Good job by you. Excellent job by you, Mike.
These were like the top stories. I could have won WWE with what's his name with the blonde hair.
The Paul brother?
No, what's his name? I said WWE. What's his name? Dusty Rhodes' son, Cody Rhodes.
Oh, Cody Rhodes.
I could have went with Cody Rhodes. I could have went a number of different ways, but I kind of went to the ones that had the most impact because, I can honestly admit I don't watch wrestling no more.
Me neither, but that was a great 2024 stroll down memory lane. Some awesome stuff. Mike, you got anything to add?
I'm going to say just throwing in Messi out there just because we've been talking a lot about money and viewership and Messi coming over to the States and, mixing things up with the soccer, man. Mm-hmm. His one season over here, I know in Frisco, a couple of times they sold out that stadium. They're like, "Oh man, we got to put suites in here." Right. Just the money. I just like that European by far has better overall soccer players and just how they do things. And so I'm glad that they're kind of mixing it in and kind of showing. It's a little tough because I know a lot of people that watch football and watch all the different leagues. And America's just behind when it comes to that. I think because the main focus is basketball and football, obviously. But I think if we get more viewership, I mean, that's also like the women's soccer, how it's like, man, women's soccer is way better than our men's soccer. If they played against each other, no, that's not what it is. But
you said our women's team is better, but still look at the pay scale. You go overseas in these European leagues, the Premier League, and all of that. Those footballers over there are making what baseball players make in America.
I mean, look at Mbappe. Like Mbappe's the best soccer player right now. So
and he's paid. And then you look at Vinny Jr., who just won the what's the darn award? He got slighted on that one award he should have won. But I mean, they're the ones that make all the money. Even though the women's game in the United States is more popular, they're not cultivating enough homegrown talent when it comes to the United States, when it comes to playing football. The game is supposed to be the beautiful game, but we all know Latin America and the European leagues are what is making the needle go. Like people go Messi crazy, but yeah, they're going Messi crazy because Messi is popular. It's not. I don't really think a lot of them know his game or understand what his game is. He's down there playing in Miami. What's in Miami? A whole bunch of Latinos and his people of Hispanic, descendants. In
the famous words of Jerome, he told Pam, "I may not remember the name, but I sure damn remember the game." So shouts out to Messi for bringing his game to the United States. My number one overall is got to be Caitlin Clark versus the WNBA versus Angel Reese. For podcast reasons, that was some of our most explosive shows, the highest viewed shows, most divisive shows in the comments. The summer flew by because of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. The social media was a buzz. That long, strenuous gap between the NFL draft and the preseason was shrunk tremendously by Caitlin Clark and the banter that it caused daily. And for her living up to the hype. So shouts out to those incredible women in the WNBA, Asia Wilson, getting to take some of that spotlight and show the world that she's the best female player on the planet. It was just overall good for the WNBA. The product was much better than I thought it would be. I was one of the ones, like Tasha said, I was not watching before. I only watched games that had Indiana or Chicago in it because I wanted to see Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. And I enjoyed watching those games. I even bet on a couple of those games. So shouts out to those ladies.
Mike, you didn't even watch New York Liberty, and they're the ones that won it all.
Liberty. No, once Caitlin got eliminated, it was on to the NFL. I'm like, oh, Caitlin is out. All right, I'm gonna holler at y'all next 3. All right, Mike, who are you closing the year out with shout outs?
I'm giving a shout out to, I'm actually here in Nevada. We're going to go to Tahoe here soon. So giving a shout out to Stacy's family because their family's up here. So been very welcoming, letting us stay with them, hopping from house to RV, which they got a nice RV over here. So, yeah.
I thought you were robbing a bank. I didn't know what you were doing. Sitting in that car.
Said it all.
Now, multitasking, it could be a business trip too. So,
Now, Mike, I'm not gonna say on wax what you know I'm gonna say when you normally tell me you're on a business trip. I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna say it on wax. But Tasha, he said he's giving a shout out to Stacy's family. Now the question is, does Stacy's mom have it going on?
Stacy's mom got it going. I know that went over like 80%.
Right. If you're not 45 years old, you're like, who is Stacy and where's her mom? Like, I digress, y'all. That was a music reference that I knew Tasha would get. Tasha, close out the show with your shout outs. Who you shouting out for 2020?
I always have all these shout outs, and then when the show comes, because I forget to write stuff down. But shout out, I don't know if Mel is still on. Mel is recovering from her knee surgery. She went to physical therapy, and I told her to make sure she does what the doctors say. Mm-hmm. My next shout out, y'all, my little baby Castor Troy is sick. I had to rush him to the vet this morning. So shouts out to Four Patas, which means 4 paws, and Dr. Carla over there. My baby is hooked up to an IV because he is severely dehydrated, and he had to get little X-rays today. So pray for my little Castor Troy.
Yes, indeed. I want to give a shout out to Michigan Mike, Tasha T. Sizzle. Rain, sleet, snow, hail, sick kids, sick animals. They show up and show out. They've cooked you all delicious meals all year. And today was no different. I really enjoyed the conversation. I really enjoyed y'all's list and spreading around. We even got some soccer in to close out the year. So these two, you know how it goes with these two. Melanie is on there, and we touch and agree with her on the press. You're right. CeeLo, no, call your daughter after the show, Tasha. Give her an update. Everybody's worried about Castor. All right. I wanted to give a shout out to the Gumbel family. Greg Gumbel, y'all. We lost another legend in the world of sports. He passed away. So shouts out and prayers to his family. I want to send a shout out to the Coulters, AP Coulter, Stephanie Coulter. Gave me the royal treatment back in Nashville. I ate good, laughed good, watched some good TV. Really enjoyed my Christmas in Nashville. Good to see my brother. Shout out to ESPN Bet app. Y'all, true story. I was sitting on the state line where you go from Arkansas to Memphis, and when you cross over the bridge, you're in Tennessee. Well, it was in a traffic jam. It was down to one lane. And as soon as I crossed
the bridge crossing the Mississippi,
man,
I would have lost my shit.
Memphis is raggedy as hell. But once I crossed over that state line, I logged into that app. So I'm sitting in traffic. I placed my bets in. That's 7.5 points. I should
come on, Texas, do better. Come on, Texas.
Do better, Texas.
Man, I'm over here doing my bets too. I got that Bet MGM app. I'm like,
yes. And shouts out to my brother who hit a ridiculously crazy parlay that I will not disclose the amount because he know people on here. I don't want nobody asking him for a loan. But you talking about jumping around. So shouts out
to whoever that is in Northern California that hit that lotto ticket.
Right. I had to rip mine up. That's my we was trying, mama. We was trying. So ladies and gentlemen, we got college bowl games today. We got NFL today. We got NCAA basketball today. We got NBA today. Y'all enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your new year. Happy New Year. Tasha, you know how to say that in Spanish?
What?
I know I put you on the spot. Happy New Year.
Feliz Año Nuevo.
And Felicia and huevos and bacon to you too. Mike, take us out of here, Mike.
Go blue.
You said put me on spot like I ain't down here speaking Spanish.
I knew you was gonna rock to the occasion. We out of here, y'all. We'll see y'all in 2020 Fizzle. Peace.